The opinions expressed by the host and guest on this program are solely their own and do not represent the views or opinions of Blind United. We strive to provide diverse perspectives and discussions on our platform, but the opinions expressed should be understood as personal viewpoints and not reflective of Blind United as an organization.
It's time. It's time for
coffee time.
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 And here is your coffee time crew.
Well, good Monday morning, everyone, and as always, welcome back to Coffee Time with Blind United. I've got the regular crew with me this morning, so good morning, Carol and Pedro.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everybody.
So we got one of our most popular interest groups tonight, support group with Dominic Martin, and what is it? The topic is something about the benefits of laughter. So I'm anxious to see which angle Dom is coming from with this one, because he's always coming from a different angle.
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, it's a really, really popular group. You know what I'm saying? You guys can drop in, check us out, 6 p.m. tonight Pacific time. I mean, you can listen in, you can participate, whatever you choose to do, you know. But it's a safe, secure place where we all sometimes open up and sometimes just listen in. So it's up to you what however it moves you, right? So, but other than that, today I'm doing something a little one of my pet peeves, one of the things I hate about, society, whatever. So today is, and not like I ain't never done it before, and I ain't like I won't do it again, but it's about racism and the cost that it is having on America. So in this first article, it's about what is it? The what's it say, Pedro? The cost of what in America?
The social cost of racism in America.
Right, social costs. So anyway,
The society
right,
cost, yeah.
yeah. So right, society, social society, whatever. But anyway, check this out, because this is it's pretty interesting stuff here. So let's talk about it on the other side.
Blind United crew, grab your first cup as the Coffee Time crew gets into this first article. The social cost of racism in America. Racism in America is not just a historical wound. It's a persistent social force that continues to shape relationships, communities, and institutions. From neighborhood segregation to disparities in policing, the social cost of racism is deeply embedded in the daily lives of millions. It affects how people interact, how they feel about their place in society, and how they are treated by others. One of the most visible social consequences is the erosion of trust. Communities of color often experience systemic discrimination in law enforcement, healthcare, and housing, leading to a justified skepticism toward institutions that are supposed to serve everyone equally. This mistrust doesn't just affect those directly targeted, it weakens the social fabric of the entire nation. When large segments of the population feel alienated or unsafe, it becomes harder to build unity, cooperation, and shared civic responsibility. Racism also contributes to social isolation. In many cities, racial and ethnic groups live in segregated neighborhoods, attend separate schools, and have limited opportunities to interact across cultural lines. This separation fosters misunderstanding and perpetuates stereotypes, making it harder to build empathy and solidarity. The result is a society where people live side by side but rarely come together. The mental health toll is another critical social cost. Studies consistently show that experiencing racism, whether through microaggressions, overt discrimination, or systemic barriers, can lead to anxiety, depression, and trauma. These effects are especially pronounced among young people who may internalize negative messages about their worth and potential. The long-term impact is a generation of Americans growing up with diminished confidence and increased emotional distress. Social media has amplified both the visibility of racism and the emotional impact. Viral videos of racial violence and injustice can spark national conversations, but they also re-traumatize viewers and reinforce feelings of helplessness. While platforms can be used to organize and educate, they also expose users to hate speech and misinformation, further complicating the social landscape. The constant exposure to racial injustice online can create a sense of fatigue and emotional burnout, especially among those who feel powerless to change the system. Another overlooked social cost is the strain racism places on interpersonal relationships. Families and friendships can be tested when individuals hold differing views on race and justice. Conversations about racism often evoke defensiveness or denial, making it difficult to engage in honest dialogue. This tension can lead to fractured relationships and a reluctance to address important issues, even within close-knit circles. Despite these challenges, communities continue to resist and rebuild. Grassroots movements, cultural celebrations, and interfaith coalitions are working to bridge divides and promote healing. These efforts show that while racism imposes a heavy social cost, it can be countered with intentional action, inclusive dialogue, and sustained advocacy. Programs that encourage cross-cultural exchange, community storytelling, and restorative justice are helping to mend broken trust and foster deeper understanding. The social cost of racism is not borne by one group alone, it affects the entire nation. It weakens our ability to connect, collaborate, and care for one another. Addressing it requires more than policy change. It demands a cultural shift toward empathy, equity, and justice. Only by acknowledging the depth of these social wounds can we begin to heal and move forward together. What are your thoughts on how racism affects social connection and trust in your community? Now back to the Coffee Time crew for their thoughts.
Well, for me personally, I mean, I've dealt with racism all my life. I mean, and it might sound funny for those that may not know me, but I am actually a white guy, but I was raised in the hood. So I was accepted more by the people in my neighborhood than I were people of my same skin tone, my same race, simply because I was living in a black neighborhood. I mean, what does that got to do with it? I mean, a house is just a house. I mean, it doesn't matter where it's at. But you want to look at me and judge me for the location of where I live, right? I mean, looking at people and judging people for their skin tone. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm never had, racist thoughts. Of course I have. I'm human, right? But
Right.
at the same time, you know, as I got older, I realized, you know what? I'm wrong for prejudging a specific group. You know, it's more about now, you know, uh, getting to know the individual person, regardless of their, skin tone, regardless of their race, regardless of their, whatever, sexual orientation, whatever you want to put into it. Uh, I now get to know a person, then I let their true feelings come out, their true beliefs come out. I mean, if we all were, able to interact as one people, right? If we the people,
Human. Right.
humans,
Right.
right? Then again, America would be so much stronger. It would
Mm-hmm.
be. I mean, I believe that we would truly, truly be invincible because of that, right? Because we are, in essence, one people. We're all human beings. We're all living here in this country together.
Right.
Many of us were born here, many of us came here, did what we had to do to become citizens, and many of us are still trying to get here. And they're goal is to ultimately become citizens, regardless of what other people might tell you, right?
Right.
So, I mean, again, if we were all just working together, imagine what we could accomplish. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this country would be truly the greatest country in the world if we lived up to what is possible and let
Hmm.
these other old heads, whatever, for lack of a better term, let them fade away. Let their beliefs fade away. Let the truth speak for itself. You know what I'm saying? Don't hide anything about our history, because our history is what built us to become what we are right now. Is all of that great? No, it's not. There's some ugliness in it, but you can't turn away from the ugliness. You have to pay attention to the ugliness so you don't repeat it again. You know what I'm
True.
saying? So,
That's right.
I mean, that's just my feelings on it. At Blind United, we don't play that. I mean, look at right here. You got a white man, a Hispanic man, and a black female. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Hmm.
and girl, I mean, she's being of a different sexual orientation. She prefers women. I ain't mad at it. That's what
Right.
floats her boat. Let's go
Right.
for it. You know what I'm saying? Me, I'm being honest. I only love black women. Okay, that's all I'm attracted to. Now, am I wrong for that? Well, and maybe in your eyes I might be, but in my heart, I'm not. In society, I'm not, because you cannot choose who you love. Okay,
That's right.
so anyway, that's my take on it, and I just hope that America would wake up and pay attention to what it's costing us. Okay? Pay attention to
Hmm.
what it's costing us. Go ahead, Cal.
It's amazing, you know, the topic of racism, because when I could see, I mean, I grew up in a neighborhood that was predominantly black, but I went to a mixed school. My mother wanted to make sure I had the best education. I graduated from high school at 15, just got skipped up because I went to private school. But she wanted me to be able to interact with the world that she could not, from the era that she came up in, and she always wanted better for me. Now that I can't see, we we just I'm guilty of it too. you know we listen to the tone of someone's voice to try to determine what type of nationality they are. Is this a white
Mhm.
person, is this a black person, is this a Hispanic person? Hey, I can't understand you, what are and we do that, unconsciously, not intentionally, but unconsciously we do that. And it's so sad that we just can't seem to have that conversation to try to get to know each other a little better. Here it is in the neighborhood where I reside right now. I have Hispanic neighbors, and we interact very well. The amazing thing to me is they do not. They're from different areas, and they do not communicate with one another. They have their own families that come to their location, and they party and enjoy themselves. But as far as interacting like I do with all the other neighbors, because they interact with me, but they do not interact with each other. And we do that too as a black culture. When I was
Mhm.
growing up, if you were a little lighter skinned and darker, people got treated different in your own race. And I'm that peanut butter color, so I was in between. But I was told that, hey, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. And it didn't matter if you were, of a lighter shade or a darker shade. But we tend to do that with our own race, even if it's someone that's coming from an area where we were actually raised, or our culture was from Africa. And then there are individuals that are coming over, when they speak to you, and have that accent, and seem to look down on you like they're a little better. It's in our own race. So we have to just learn to get along with one another, because I can't go nowhere else. Earth is where I reside. That's where I live. So I gotta be able to communicate with everybody on this planet,
That's right.
because I can't go
Mhm.
nowhere else. And we, being blind
Mhm.
individuals, we can't see what color you are. We have to just understand the inside of you
Wow.
and learn to
Your
love you
actions.
for that,
And for the
know.
most part, we don't really care. You know what
No,
I'm
no, I
saying?
don't.
So,
I don't care.
yeah.
Hmm.
Like you say,
Hmm.
I'm black, I'm blind, I'm lesbian. And when I go out there, people target me. But I don't come across to you as if I want you. It's like I used to tell my mama, do you like every man you meet? Well, I don't like every woman I meet. Mama, I'm not trying to lay with everybody, like you didn't. I'm just trying
Right.
to get to know people. And I have
Right.
no problem with men. I have more male
Hmm.
friends than I do female friends. But the fact of the matter is that I tend to just try to learn people for who they are. And I don't care what you do, who you love, where you work, none of that. What you have. If you good to me, I'm good to you. And that's all that really matters to me.
Yeah.
All right, Pedro. Close us out, brother.
Yeah. So yeah, and I think that's what Carol, what you were describing with the lighter skin and the darker skin happens in different cultures. It happens in the Latino culture as well. Sometimes when you're darker, you're looked down upon, or
Mm-hmm.
for some of my Mexican friends, sometimes the Mexicans that are born in Mexico refer them as not real Mexicans because they're over here, I guess. So there's a lot of lines and a lot of things that we need to start already not looking at. I believe America should be a melting pot. We need to interact with each other. The more you interact, the more you will understand different cultures, and the more you get exposed to more food, more type of clothing, art. You get exposed to type of different media, movies, music. America is built on that since
Mm-hmm.
the pilgrims came as immigrants. They came over the sea. America wasn't, they were not the native people here.
No.
America's been built on that. And I believe segregation and not mingling causes stereotypes, causes you not to know the other side. So when someone tells you about the other side, you're like, for real? That's how it is? And no, guys, I believe that this is divide and conquer tactics. Think about it. And we're fighting amongst each other. We never move to a certain goal together.
Mm-hmm.
We're almost all in the same bracket, and that's the poor bracket when it comes to these billionaires. They look at us as the working class. That's how they
Yeah.
look at us. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I believe not able to come together, we don't have healthcare for everybody and stuff like that. Sometimes we're so stuck in our ways, and we be back and forth on each other, and we don't get nothing across. We need leaderships that talk across cultures in America right now, because right now America looks divided. You have people calling for like war. I seen a newscaster call for a civil war. A newscaster in a mainstream TV.
Media.
Media.
Yeah,
Wow.
mainstream media. And it shouldn't be caused like that. It shouldn't be,
Mm-mm.
no flame should be right now due to what just happened with a figure in media as well. But things are getting flamed up. And I believe the tactic is to separate and conquer. The more you have people fighting amongst each others, they can't turn around and point the finger at the true enemy of America. And that's the ultra wealthy, the multinational corporations and multinational citizens that don't want to contribute to America, the home of these billionaires where they made their wealth. They wouldn't be there if we were not here, you know?
That's true,
And
Pedro.
we need to stand together and make things happen for our children. I think about the children, the upcoming generation. Yes, our debt has gone up, and we just keep pushing it to the next generation,
But you brought
you
us
know?
something very important just a moment ago. You have a lot of parents that are working, they have insurance, but they really take the insurance and use it for their children, even though they may have ailments, but they're afraid to go to the doctor because they'll miss a day of work and they don't want to
Mm-hmm.
lose their job because they're the only source. in the,
Mm-hmm.
poor communities, they're the only source of income. So they rather, take their kids and have them have health care than to take care of
And
themselves, even though they're
Well,
paying for it.
I don't know if y'all heard, they
well,
want to take school lunches away from other children, and
Hmm.
something like that. No matter if you're black, Latino,
they
Asian,
don't. They just
fine.
want to take it away from the lower class as far as they're concerned.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
For
anyway,
them, ain't no color line.
so well, again, this whole day is about racism and the different costs that we're paying due to racism. So anyway, right quick, George, I'm gonna bite. What holiday is tomorrow? I had no idea that tomorrow was a
No.
holiday, so I am
So,
planning on being here. So
Ed,
A
let me
holiday.
just say, happy independence to my Central Americans from El Salvador, Honduras, and other Latino country. This is our
okay,
Independence
so it's
Day,
Mexican.
November
It's
Oh,
15th.
okay.
okay, that's what
Thank
it is.
you.
But
Yeah.
yeah, we did some stuff on that last year with Elizabeth. By the way, Elizabeth, I hope you're feeling better and
Yeah, get better soon, Elizabeth.
get better soon, Elizabeth. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, we're going to run a couple promos and we'll jump into our second article. Be right back. Did you know Blind United offers free training in assistive technology? We call them interest groups. We offer training in JAWS, NVDA, iPhone, iPad, as well as Meta Ray Bans. We also have groups like support group, cooking groups, and crafting groups. There are also groups for entertainment like movie night and RS game night. For more information about all the interest groups that we offer, just email us at info@blindunited.org or visit our Facebook group, Blind United Interest Group. We would love to have you be part of the Blind United crew.
Hey, coffee time crew, we got something new. Support the mission and look fresh too. Fresh rock that blue with the logo in white. Blind United shirts, yeah, they feeling right. Just 20 dough and you're part of the cause. Helping blind folks level up, no pause calls. From Jaws with Andy to Hall Ace Tips. Support group love and crochet kits. Movie nights roll and the vibes are lit. Every shirt you buy helps all of it. So cop that tee, be proud to wear. You're lifting up lives with every pair. Email us now, don't let it slide. Info@Blind United or join the pride.
Well, just remember that purchasing one of our royal blue T-shirts with the white logo on it is just one way to support Blind United. Again, we'll accept all donations, no matter how large or how small. We can use it to help us continue to do the work that we do, providing all that we can provide to our community nationwide for free. So anyway, come check us out. You know, whether it's in our interest groups or, like I said, if you want to make a purchase, you can go to the website. You can make a donation, whatever you want to do. We really appreciate it. So anyway, this next one is the cost that we are paying within our education system. So check this one out.
Hey Blind United crew, grab your second cup as the Coffee Time crew gets into this second article. The educational cost of racism in America. Racism in America doesn't just shape social interactions, it deeply influences the educational experiences of millions of students. From early childhood through higher education, systemic racism creates barriers that limit access, opportunity, and achievement. These barriers don't just affect individual learners, they weaken the nation's ability to cultivate a well-educated, innovative, and inclusive workforce. One of the most persistent issues is the unequal distribution of resources. Schools in predominantly Black, Latino, and Indigenous communities often receive less funding than those in wealthier, predominantly white neighborhoods. This funding gap translates into fewer advanced courses, outdated textbooks, limited access to technology, and deteriorating facilities. Students in underfunded schools are expected to compete on the same playing field as their peers, yet they begin the race with fewer tools and less support. Teacher expectations also play a critical role. Research shows that students of color are more likely to be underestimated by educators, leading to lower academic expectations and fewer opportunities for enrichment. This bias can be subtle, such as discouraging a student from taking honors classes, or overt, such as disproportionately harsh discipline. These experiences shape how students see themselves and their potential, often resulting in lower self-esteem and disengagement from learning. Disciplinary practices in schools reflect broader patterns of racial inequality. Black students, in particular, are suspended and expelled at rates far higher than their white peers for similar behaviors. This school-to-prison pipeline funnels students out of classrooms and into the criminal justice system, cutting short educational journeys and reinforcing cycles of poverty and incarceration. The long-term impact is devastating, not just for the students involved, but for communities that lose future leaders, innovators, and changemakers. Access to higher education is also shaped by racism. While college enrollment has increased among students of color, they still face significant hurdles, including rising tuition costs, lack of generational wealth, and limited access to mentorship and support networks. Predominantly white institutions often struggle to create inclusive environments, leaving students of color feeling isolated or unwelcome. These challenges can affect retention rates and graduation outcomes, limiting career opportunities and economic mobility. Curriculum content is another area where racism leaves its mark. Many educational materials still present history through a Eurocentric lens, minimizing or misrepresenting the contributions and experiences of marginalized groups. This lack of representation can make students feel invisible and disconnected from their education. Inclusive curricula that reflect diverse voices and histories are essential for building a sense of belonging and encouraging critical thinking. Despite these challenges, educators, students, and advocates are working to transform the system. Culturally responsive teaching, equity-focused policies, and community-driven school reform are helping to close gaps and create more inclusive learning environments. These efforts show that while racism imposes a heavy educational cost, it can be countered with intentional investment, accountability, and a commitment to justice. The educational cost of racism is not just a matter of test scores, it's a reflection of how we value each child's potential. When we allow racism to shape our schools, we limit the future of our nation. Addressing these inequities is not just a moral imperative, it's a strategic one. What are your thoughts on how racism affects educational opportunity in your community? Now back to the Coffee Time crew for their thoughts.
Uh, I mean, racism within our education, the systemic racism is, man, it's killing our country. I mean, it really is. I mean, just knowing, like I said, we know those of us that came up through the public system, we already understand that, property taxes is what dictates, what money you get in your school district or whatever, or your school, where I think all of that money should go into one kitty, and each school in that system, regardless of location, gets an equal amount of the total money, not
Mm-hmm.
just what their community brings in property taxes. I mean, again, we just heard recently in comments, well, Americans are not smart enough to do some of these jobs. Well, okay, here we go.
Right.
You're cutting people short that would potentially, be able to do this with a proper education, right? So, I mean, discounting minority groups, people don't realize how much people from minority groups innovate simply because why? They're the ones that's dealt with, given the responsibility of doing the actual work. So what do? They sit there and try to figure out the best way to make their job easier. They're
Right.
innovating. You know what I'm saying? You'd be surprised how many things that we become accustomed to in everyday life that was created by a minority that they never ever get credit for. They try to
Mm-hmm.
wipe them out of the history books. They're
Hmm.
what we want to call Eurocentric folks. They want to take credit for everything. They didn't do everything. So therefore they don't deserve credit for everything. Give credit where credit is due. Okay.
That's their own DI program, their virtual inclusion program for them.
Well,
It was a joke, kid. It was
diversity.
a joke. I'm sorry. I'm
Mm,
sorry.
Well,
that's a good one, Pedro.
but the difference is where we use it as inclusion, they use it as in exclusion.
Yeah,
True.
Okay.
they want to take over everything. Yeah, I understand. I get you. It was a joke.
I mean,
Continue.
again,
My bad.
but again, if we would just educate all of our people equally, if we were all one people again, right? Like, I mean, you got all of these folks talking about, one people, we the people, yada, yada, yada. But in essence, yes, we are, but we're not treated that way. The
True.
key word in this whole thing is systemic racism. That's the racism that was grown within the country and held on to, and is even held on to today by a certain group of people that want things to always be where they have the advantage over others. And that is not right in America. Our Constitution says all men are created equal. Okay, it took them a long, long time to get that figured out. But again, there's still a group of people that want to stack the deck. And that's what we got to do. We got to reshuffle that deck, and we got to shuffle these play, deal these cards out to where everybody gets an equal number of cards. That's the only way this is going to work. You know what I'm saying? We wouldn't need all of these engineers from some of these other countries that take education a lot more serious than we do here in America. America has always been, the higher ups have always been, oh, well, if we don't
Innovators.
have it, we'll just buy it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Right.
We're not, if we, no, we need to innovate. We need to create. We need to be the envy of the world. And we could be. We could be if
Mm-hmm.
Well,
we just educate our people equally, give everybody an
hmm
equal
hmm
opportunity
hmm
to excel. Go ahead,
So
Pedro.
what they've done
go ahead, girl.
basically is everything has changed, but a lot of things have not changed for the better. I can remember when I went to school, there was so many classes that were offered to every school. I'm talking about I learned how to sew. I went to learn how to change oil. I had mechanic class. I had a
Hmm.
woodcraft class. These
All
were
that's
not
gone. They don't do
specialties
none of that no
that
more.
they had. These were not specialties like they have now. They have magnet
Mm-mm.
schools, and all of these kids cannot go to that. You have to have a certain grade point average. They don't offer things like that to where these kids in these lower minority or poverty areas don't have an opportunity. I mean, everybody can't run fast, so they're not going to get a football scholarship or scholarship at all. So the
Hmm.
opportunity to want to excel in education, they don't have that opportunity unless they get a
Hmm.
scholarship. Most
Hmm.
people, when they get right out of high school, it's not that they don't want more education, but they got to go to work. Because how can they
Hmm.
do them both, in the area where they live? They have wonderful dreams of wanting to get out. And a lot of people
Hmm.
do. But a lot of them get out because of scholarships, being able to go to college and continue their education. And a lot of people just don't have a direction to go. The
Yeah.
things that they're teaching now in school it's not going to benefit the kids if they're not interested. Bring the music programs back. Bring these things that these kids can at least have a chance to excel. If they're not going to go to college, at least a trade school. You've taught them something. At least that's what they did back in my day. Everything is AI. Offer classes like that for these kids so that they can have a future to maybe want to go into engineering or computer programming or something of that sort. To where they might could get a job straight out of high school. We
Hmm.
learned how to
Hmm.
type in school. Now
Uh,
typing is not that big of a thing, but it was something that was just part of the curriculum to make us be able to work because a lot of us weren't going to be able to go to college, but we could have got a job if we could type. So, they need to offer things like that again
Well,
in
it just means
every school.
they just need more
Mm.
opportunity. That's what it comes down to.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
by taking away all of the shop classes,
Hmm.
printing, wood, metal,
Yeah.
mechanics, drafting, ceramics, all of
Hmm.
these, all of these different things, you're taking away their opportunities. I mean, they get a chance to get a taste of what these things are, and maybe they want to go in and become a chef. Maybe they
That's
want to
right.
become an architect. Maybe they want to become a metal fabricator. Maybe they want to become a carpenter. Whatever. They don't know if they don't get a chance to sample that while they're in basic education. So,
That's right.
go ahead, Pedro.
Yeah, yeah, and yes, this is a form of racism, but it's also a form of class warfare. And the reason why it's class warfare, think about this. The parents that pay more property tax in these upscale neighborhoods get the more funds. Those parents still have more funds in their pocket to donate to these schools. So that even boosts that school even more. And the schools at the poor community get less money because yes, the community is making less. But what world are we living where we're like, well, we're not gonna give the unfortunate children this. It should be a pot. We should actually see and be like, okay, this community over here doesn't make so much, so we're gonna put more classes and try to get people out of that space. Let these kids grow up and be an engineer, be a
Hmm.
robot engineer, a coder, a scientist. It could even be cool, blue collar jobs like fixing ACs. All this, we all need all this. This is all
Hmm.
needed across the country. And when we had Build Back Better, we were going to give out 2 years of free college or a trade school. This would have helped the poor class, but
Yeah.
two congressmen or two senators did not want to did not want to agree with the Democrats. Okay, and this was an opportunity to have to give back something to our youth to show them that we care, that the people in charge care. This is a type of class warfare. When you take off the middle class and you only have poor and rich, some of these people
Yeah.
up there are snooty. They don't
Oh
want
And
to
yeah.
share.
people
They're
don't
like,
No.
those are
realize
weak.
by investing in our children, we're investing in our country.
Hmm.
Yes. And
Okay.
and China is doing that in the most excellent way. Their GDP growth is 6%. Ours is 2.5.
Mm.
They're gonna beat us soon. They've been
Japan
having
the
a
same
six.
way. A lot of the Asian countries the same way. And then when I say Asians, a lot of people don't recognize. It took me a long time to recognize that Indians are actually Asians.
Yes,
Okay,
they are.
so
Hmm.
again,
Yes.
they all are very, very, very up on educating their kids. Okay,
Right.
Yes, yes, but I'm talking about the GDP growth of our overall country by how China has been investing in their rail system and their school system and all these other things that we haven't been able to do because we're fighting back and forth. Our GDP growth by 2.5% these last, what, 20 years, while they've been growing these last 30 years, 6%. That they will catch up to us. That's what I'm
well,
saying. And
but
we
again,
need to
remember that
strengthen our
mentality.
education.
Remember that mentality I just said. Them folks up there that's got hundreds of millions, billions, and maybe even $1 trillion. They ain't worried about it because they just buy it, right?
Hmm.
Right.
We
Right.
have to earn it, but you're not giving us a way to earn it. You're taking away our opportunities to elevate ourselves, our family, and our country by
Yeah.
doing the systemic things within our education system. So that's the end
Hmm.
of this segment as well to get us back on track here. But again, it's all wrong. It's all wrong. Okay, so but we're gonna run a couple more promos, and the last one is the cost in our financial ability, which is what every I've noticed everything we've talked about so far this morning. We ended up on money,
Oh,
right?
money.
So we'll get into these last couple promos and we'll get into the last article. Be right back with you.
Rolling jingles, $10 a shots. Birthday beats and holiday knocks. Gotcha covered for the ones you love. Personalized joy like a custom glove. Get your jingle hot and fresh. Info at blindunited.org. $10 only, no more, no less. We make memories you can't afford. Got a catchy tune for your babe. Poppin' beats like dreams we crave. For Mama's Day or Papa's cheer, let's make smiles from ear to ear. Get your jingle hot and fresh. Info at blindunited.org. $10 only, no more, no less. We make memories you can't afford.
Have you ever wondered what it's really like to be blind? Ever wanted to ask questions but held back, afraid of offending? Blind United invites you to replace that fear with fun, learning and connection at our 4th annual Walk a Mile in My Shoes challenge. Join us Saturday, October 11th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Wayfinder Family Services, 50 Huntington Angeles, Vista Boulevard, Los Angeles. Experience everyday attacks blindfolded, like pouring a cup of water. Try assistive technology like screen reader computers and iPhones. Get a hands-on braille lesson and discover how independence is built every day. Smile, laugh, and learn alongside the blind community. No pressure, just pleasure. Help us build bridges, close gaps, and make connections. Walk a mile in my shoes and see the world in a whole new way.
All right. I was sitting there thinking while that was playing, we can take this same philosophy and apply it to everything, this walk a mile in my shoes thing. We could do that within our races. You know what I'm saying? Come on over here and hang out with the black folks for a while. Okay, come over here and hang out with the white folks for a while. Let's go over here and hang out with the Latinos for a while. Let's go hang out with the Asians for a minute. Let's go hang out with the Indians for a minute. Let's go hang out with the native Indians for a minute. Bottom line, when we get a sense of what these people truly are and really, examine the beautiful parts of their culture. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Now we have a better appreciation for everybody else on this planet. It's just that simple. Just like we bring them out here, we're going to show them what it's like to be blind, right? So why? We want them to have a newfound appreciation for what blind people do every day. It's the same principle. So anyway, we're going to jump into this last one. Again, like I said, this one here is all about the cost of, on our financial system due to racism.
Hey, Blind United crew, grab your last cup as the Coffee Time crew gets into this third article. The financial cost of racism in America. Racism doesn't just divide communities, it drains the economy. The financial cost of racism in America is staggering, affecting everything from employment and income to housing and healthcare. These costs are not confined to individuals or families. They ripple through entire industries, cities, and the national economy. One of the most direct financial impacts is the racial wage gap. On average, Black and Latino workers earn significantly less than their white counterparts, even when controlling for education and experience. This gap limits household income, reduces consumer spending, and restricts access to wealth-building opportunities like homeownership and retirement savings. Over time, these disparities compound, creating generational cycles of poverty and financial insecurity. Employment discrimination also plays a major role. Studies have shown that resumes with ethnic-sounding names receive fewer callbacks than identical resumes with traditionally white names. This bias in hiring practices not only limits job opportunities for qualified candidates, but also reduces the overall productivity and innovation of the workforce. When talent is overlooked because of race, businesses lose out, and so does the economy. Housing discrimination contributes to financial inequality in powerful ways. Redlining, predatory lending, and unequal access to mortgages have kept many families of color from building equity through homeownership. Since homes are a primary source of generational wealth in America, these barriers have long-term consequences. Families denied access to stable housing are more likely to face financial instability, higher rent burdens, and limited access to quality schools and healthcare. Healthcare disparities also carry a financial cost. Communities of color often face higher rates of chronic illness, lower access to preventive care, and shorter life expectancies. These health inequities lead to increased medical expenses, lost productivity, and higher insurance premiums. Employers and taxpayers alike bear the burden of a healthcare system that fails to serve all populations equitably. Racism also affects entrepreneurship. Minority-owned businesses often struggle to secure funding, face higher interest rates, and receive less support from local governments and financial institutions. This limits job creation, innovation, and economic growth in underserved communities. When these businesses fail to thrive, entire neighborhoods miss out on the benefits of economic development. The cumulative financial cost of racism has been estimated in the trillions. A 2020 report from Citigroup found that racial inequities in wages, education, housing, and investment had cost the U.S. economy $16 trillion over the past 20 years. Closing these gaps could add trillions to GDP, create millions of jobs, and strengthen the financial health of the nation. Addressing the financial cost of racism requires bold action. Policies that promote pay equity, fair lending, inclusive hiring, and equitable health care are essential. But so is a cultural shift, one that values diversity not just as a moral good, but as an economic asset. When all Americans have the opportunity to succeed, the entire country benefits. The financial cost of racism is not just a line item, it's a reflection of lost potential. By confronting these inequities head-on, we can build a stronger, more resilient economy that works for everyone. What are your thoughts on how racism affects financial opportunity and stability in your community? Now back to the Coffee Time crew for their thoughts.
Well, I mean, I'm going to use the term again, systemic racism. To me, systemic racism is taking its biggest toll on our financial. I mean, and don't get me wrong, it's taking a toll on every other area that we've discussed this morning. But again, within our financial system, it's rigged. It's rigged to keep certain people down and elevate others, and that's 100% wrong. It truly is. Everybody should have an opportunity to become independently wealthy. I mean, again, we're talking about housing, right? For most average Americans, the biggest purchase they're ever going to make in their life is their home. Okay. And again, having that, it gives them a sense of pride. It gives them a sense of accomplishment. You know what I'm saying? And it is creating something because why do they want to separate us from that ability? Because it is the number one wealth builder in the country. Okay. I would probably say around the world, but I just know for a fact here in America, if you can get you a piece of property and hold on to it long enough, you can double, triple, even quadruple your initial investment.
Right.
Okay. Just by paying off your loan, just holding on to it and paying off your original loan. Okay. I mean, seriously, right now I can sell my house and make more than double what I paid for it just under 10 years ago. Okay. So again, this is one of the main things they're trying to block people in, in minority areas, people of minority descent. They're trying to block them from having that. I mean, you think about the economics in our communities, right? Where would we all be if it wasn't for that uh, little neighborhood market, bodega, wherever it is you live on the country, whatever, right? But that neighborhood market that you can run down there, it was 9 times out of 10 was operated by a minority, right?
Right.
And again, but they provided a very, very, very important service to that community. Now, you might not have a market close, within 2, 3, 5, 10 miles. Okay, depending on where you at, it could be up to 30 miles away. Okay, you depend on those little places to get the essential things that you need on a day-to-day basis, right? But they add so much money and so much value back to the community. You know what I'm saying? By charging minority business owners more interest, okay, or even just blocking them from getting a loan. Period. You know what I'm saying? You're doing the whole country a misjustice when you do that. This is what I want people to understand. You are killing America by continuing the systemic racism. You're continuing to harm America by just having racism, period. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to be here with everybody that's here, America was built on immigrants, whether they were brought here forcefully, whether they were recruited here to build the railroads or whatever it was. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
They came here for a better life, okay? All but those that were forcefully brought here. But now that they're here, they're born here, they can't go, black folks can't go back to Africa.
Mm-mm.
Okay, I mean, they can, but again, they're not from there. They're from here. They know this culture, they don't know that culture.
Right.
And then once you get back there, what? Like we were saying earlier, they think they're better. Why? Because they're purebred. You know what I'm saying? They're
Right.
pure African, right? The white
Mm-hmm.
folks had the same thing. They look at you, if you got dark hair, oh no, you ain't a pure blood. You're only pure, according to Hitler, if you're blonde hair, blue eye.
Mm, mm,
Okay, so
mm.
again, there's the racism within our own culture,
Right.
okay, that they're not even paying attention to.
And
But
Hitler had fucking brown eyes.
when he had black hair,
And brown hair, yeah,
Yeah,
sir.
and he
you
was half
know,
Jewish.
No,
that's the
that
crazy
ugly
part,
mustache.
So, but again, all of this is just wrong, y'all. It's just wrong. We got to do better than this. We are better than this. We can be better than this. Every time something tragic happens in America, we do better.
Mm-hmm.
The minute the tragedy is behind us, everybody goes back to living right next door to each other, but not
Mm-hmm.
experiencing one another. And that's not the goal.
Mm,
It
That's
it
not the
mm,
goal.
reminds me of just a funeral. We all, unfortunately, at least in my culture, around my family, I can only speak for me. We talk with one another occasionally, but we don't really gather together like we used to. Family reunions, all that kind of stuff. Unless it's a funeral, we come together, and we all are so
mm,
sympathetic and so compassionate and empathetic about everything that has
mhm.
happened throughout the years just because of this funeral. And then after a while, we start fading away and
Back to the
doing our
same.
own thing. And, that's a sad thing. One thing I can say about the poor or misrepresented communities is we are resourceful. We can make some wonderful things out of the littlest things, and we gonna keep everything on point. We might be struggling trying to pay the rent or the bills, but we gonna look good. We gonna go out and shop, and we gonna try to make what we can work under the circumstances that we have, and we pull together and help one another, at least over in my area, and it's not based on race. Hispanic neighbors and me, we share food and things of that sort,
Mhm.
not just because we think that nobody has anything. It's just That's just what we neighborly do. We've done it, you know, not all the time, but, you know, just coming together and learning about each other. You know, that's the
Hmm.
important thing about why I'm learning to speak Spanish, you know, through Blind United, and being able to break that cultural thought of I can't learn a new language because they learning how to speak English. So why can't I learn how to speak Spanish and we can communicate and I can learn a little bit more about them. They can learn a little bit more about me and we can exist because in this world, I mean, Spanish is the language now. I took it 2 years in high school, but I don't remember that, you know. So now, you know, just learning to communicate in the different cultures and the different things that are in the community to help us to just survive and pull together and exist is a wonderful thing. You know, I just wish that more of us would do that because we need each other. We really do.
Amen. Amen. I thought about something you said, financially, right? My wife, my late wife, she used to be out with the kids and, oh, mama, can we get this? Is our child now? We ain't gonna buy that. We can make that.
Make it at home.
You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? And I mean, and that's what I mean. I look at back at it now, and my daughters are very crafty.
Right.
Okay, they know how to make things. You know what I'm saying? If they can't afford to buy what they want, they make it. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So anyway,
Hmm.
go ahead, Pedro.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. We are resourceful, and yeah, it seems like now we're more disconnected. I try to work on something with my children, and I don't want my children to not visit each other, not come together and hang out. I want them to actually come together. Try to have a Sunday dinner all together. Bring their families, bring the separate cousins and the family together. I don't want them to be. I know I see some brothers and sisters, and sometimes they won't talk for months. There's
Hmm.
siblings that are estranged because of simple little reasons, and they don't get over it, and they don't get across it and stuff like that. And you know something that I'm trying to build within my own little family is them to be to come together more, to enjoy their company. I do have my little ones that bicker back and forth, but I always instill on them, this is your brother, this is your sister. They're the most likely the only ones you're gonna have for the rest of your life around you,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And that includes cousins and aunts, and sometimes we are more separate, different states. Sometimes that gets in the way, but technology has improved with like FaceTime, that you could kind of start looking and visually see your people and conversate with them. And sometimes it might take a call with 30 people, and then, hey, how's everybody doing? Sometimes we move different places because of conditions and stuff, because of the conditions our leadership has put us in, even if it's left or right. But you know we need to be more family inclined, more community inclined. Talk to your
Yeah.
neighbors.
Well, and
Break
that's
those
what
walls down. Don't build walls, break them down.
I was going to add to that, Pedro. Not only do you want to get with your family on Friday, Sunday, whatever, have that dinner, whatever, their regular time together, but it's not only your blood, it's the family you choose. Okay, just
Hmm.
like I've chosen you as my brother, I've chosen Carol as my sister, right?
Yes.
So on and so forth. There's people that I go through in life that I've chosen as family.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So them
Yeah.
family members that don't want to participate, replace them with the family you choose.
That's right.
I
That's
mean, I
right.
hate to say it that way, but now you're exposing your family to more because most of us have the family we've chosen are from different ethnic backgrounds.
That's
Okay,
right.
it's more diverse than our actual family, right? Have your kids invite their friends over to hang out, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
All of this
Hmm.
kind of stuff because now we're mixing cultures. You know what I'm saying? Not only that, you're paying attention to your family and your kids or whatever. To why does they only have Latino friends? Why you don't have any black friends? Why you don't have any white friends? So on and so
Right.
forth. and then that gives you a little bit more insight into areas that you need to expand your family's horizons, if you will. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because we're all here together, regardless. When you peel the skin back, guess what? We're all pink inside.
That's right.
And think
Okay?
about this one. If we have a threat from space, it doesn't discriminate.
No.
That could be a comet, that could be another species. Think about
Right.
that one. They see us
Right.
as one.
That's true.
You know,
That is
I'm just
true.
again.
saying.
So,
That
but
is
on
true.
that note, that we are at the end of this Monday. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation.
Whoop,
I hope
whoop.
we,
Yep.
you know, open up your mind and, maybe cause you to do a little bit more thinking about what's going on around you each and every day. You know what I'm saying? And do what you can do to, try to head that off and make it better for not only yourself and your family, but everybody around you, the entire
Mhm.
country. You know what I'm saying? So just like, again, we're just trying to get this word out to as many people as we can. That's why we always ask you at the end. Maybe I need to ask you at the beginning. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, all of that good stuff. It allows us to get the word out to more and more people about what we're doing here at Blind United. Yes, we are blind. Yes, we are talking about blind stuff. But guess what? We're also human beings, okay? And we're
Yes.
on the planet along with everybody else. And we just want to live our best life. And our best life is going to be a life where we don't have to deal with racism at any level because it would be non existent, okay?
Mm.
Non
Hmm.
Mhm.
existent. Then we would
Also,
truly be in a much, much better place. Go ahead,
Just
Pedro.
because this administration is trying to make it that way, we are not going backwards. We are going forward with positivity because we all belong here. One love.
mhm.
Amen.
Also,
Want to
happy
closing thought?
Independence Day to my Latinos. Happy Independence Day out there. So
Yes.
brush up if you don't know. If you're a Latino American, brush up and check out what this Independence Day and what is this independence what we got the chains off of us from. Look
Right.
up history. It's always good to know your
Hmm.
history.
That's right. That's
It's
right.
always good to know your history, but at the same time, we got to plan for our future, and our future includes all of us.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
just
It
remember that
does.
part. So on that note, I'm gonna call this one to an end. Everybody have a blessed and highly favored day, and hey man, we'll see you guys again tomorrow.